evaluate this line integral where c is the part of the helix defined by this. So the curve helix is already parameterized, I mean it's given, so we can directly go here. Then we can write this line integral c 4 root 13 x y z ds. This is same as by formula. Here t runs from 0 to pi over 2, so 0 through pi over 2. We need to write in terms of parameter t. So 4 root 13 x is given by 2t times y is 3 sine t times z is 3 cosine t times, now we have ds, that's the arc length with respect to arc length, that is same as square root of x prime t squared, x prime derivative of 2t. Okay, find derivative of 2t square, derivative of y square, derivative of z square. That goes here by formula, just to change ds. So 2t, derivative of 2t is 2 square, 4 plus 3 sine t, derivative is 3 cosine t square. 3 cosine t square means 9 cosine square t, plus derivative of 3 cosine t is negative sine, so negative 3 sine square, so 9 sine square t dt. Okay, now we can simplify here. 9 cosine squared plus 9 sine squared, we can factor 9 out, that leaves cosine squared plus sine squared, which is 1. So just 9, and 9 plus 4 13, so the whole thing is root 13. Next, this root 13 times root 13, just 13 we can pull outside. Then 4 times 2 times 3 times 3, okay, we can multiply 3 times 3, 9 times 2 18 times 4 30 72, 0 to pi over 2 t sine t cosine t, t sine t cosine t dt. Now we need to integrate this product. We got a product of 3 functions. If we had only 2 functions as a product, then we could use integration by parts, but got 3, so we can consider sine t cosine t as 1. But better thing is, we know that product of sine t cosine t with 2, this is same as sine of double angle 2t. So this one multiply by 2, here is 72, which is 36 times 2. Let me put here, same thing, right? Then 2 sine t cosine t is sine 2t. So this is 13 times 36, whatever that number, 0 to pi over 2. Here is t times, now 2 sine cosine is sine 2t. Now we got a product of 2 functions, and we can apply the method of integration by parts. Okay, which is what? When we have u times dv, that's uv minus integral v du. So u is here t, and dv is remaining, so sine 2t dt. Derivative is 1, antiderivative is negative cosine 2t divided by 2. So this is 13 times 36 by this formula uv, so t times this, so negative t times this negative t cosine 2t over 2 and we need to evaluate from 0 to pi over 2 minus integral v du, which is also got negative here, so plus 0 to pi over 2 v cosine 2t over 2 d, which 1 dt, just dt. Okay, so 13 times 36. Here let's evaluate this function at the upper limit minus lower limit. So lower limit is 0 and here is t, so t equals 0 makes everything 0, so there is nothing to do with the lower limit. How about upper limit? This is negative t is pi over 2 times cosine 2 times pi over 2. 2 times pi over 2 is just pi, cosine pi, which is negative 1, and this 2, and nothing from lower limit, plus antiderivative of this is 1/2, by the way, we can pull outside this half on the bottom. Antiderivative of cosine is sine 2t. Oh, there is 2 that we need to divide by 2, and we need to evaluate this from 0 to pi over 2. Okay, if we plug in pi over 2 here, we get sine 2 times pi over 2, sine pi. Sine pi is 0, so from upper limit we're gonna get 0. Similarly, from the lower limit, sine 2 times 0 is 0, so 0, so the whole thing is 0. So whatever left, that's the final answer. Okay, so negative pi times negative 1, just pi. 2 times 2, 4. Okay, 2 times 2, 4 goes 36 9 times. Okay, and here is negative negative positive pi, so 13 times 9 pi. Okay, 117 pi. Final